Welcome back to the Ambition Over Fear platform. It is here we teach consciousness, alchemy, and the transforming of energy from one form into another. As we move into exploring who we are and we move away from the limited human to the unlimited soul, a lot of questions can arise. A lot of situations come up, and it is our job to provide ourselves with the nurturing of the divine feminine and the protection and guidance of the divine masculine. Time and time again, we go into the higher realms through meditation, yoga, creative practices, plant medicine, and we open up our third eye, but we don't always know how to actually use the power we're tapping into. We get into a position where we understand that we're not just a human. We are a soul inhabiting a human body. Our soul is interdimensional, meaning it is a being of light and galactic energy that exists through all the dimensions at one time, simultaneously, symbiotically. So in order for you to get a full understanding on this holistic system, you have to first get an understanding of all the parts that come together to make the holistic system. Understanding is the divine masculine. Understanding that every single thing has a purpose and meaning. And if you understand the reason why something is existing, you can understand how to better utilize its presence to further shift you into a brighter and more creative expansion of your human soul. Your soul is not human, but as you reincarnate on this planet, the Matrix does a very good job of allowing a very constructed, realistically looking simulation to encapsulate your consciousness so you can have an experience in this alternate reality that is Earth. Because your origin is a soul, your origin is the universe. It is all the stars and angels and aliens and galactic beings, gods and goddesses. At a core, your body is fueled by a list and a chronological command of electricity or consciousness. Why I say consciousness is electricity is because if you look inside of a house, right? I want you to imagine this for a second. Imagine an apartment building with 13 floors, each floor representing a dimension. Now, as you imagine these things, you realize that every single thing that is living is alive. Now, what is to be alive? It goes beyond animals and humans. Every single thing you see is energy. Energy is alive. The wall is alive. The couch behind me is alive. My hair is alive. Everything is alive. And once you understand that everything is living, you then have a more of appreciation towards everything you see around you because you're understanding that it is a reflection of you. You are a soul. Now, as you work your way up this ladder, you go from your human body, and which is where you are at right now as you're watching this video, and you awaken to a position that you are not just a body, and that you are a spiritual being that is eternal, because your soul's natural composite is not of earth. I need you to realize that your true nature is a high frequency being that has chosen itself to have a certain set of circumstances, characteristics, and galactic DNA and codes. So your soul is basically like its own personality. Your soul is your higher ego, and your body is your lower ego. Now, lower and higher does not represent bad, worse, or better. It is representing of the dimension at which we're talking about. So your soul is your higher ego. Now, in order for your soul to exist in this matrix, the energy, the frequency of your soul is very quickly moving, and it is a lot more higher vibrational than anything on earth. So in order for that cosmic energy to be translated into earth, you have to have a container on earth itself. The container is your body. Without your body, your soul would cease to be compressed into one thing. Because as you know, your body is charged by your soul, and your soul is then charged by the entire universe. Go back to that metaphor of the apartment building. Now imagine the entire circuitry, the electrical wiring of the entire apartment on every floor is wired from this power generator that is the 13th floor. That power generator is the source of all energy and all the floors that come beneath it. Now, when you are turning on a light on the first floor, but if we're using floors as dimension, let's say you're turning on a light on the third floor, which is the third dimension. The only reason anything can exist on that lower floor in that third dimension is because it is wired chronologically up all the way into the power generator. So, in order for the universe to expand, it has to go beyond being just one. The universe, as we go through the idea of we're not separate, but we are separate, both of those are right. Okay? We are not separate because technically every single thing is made of consciousness that exists on different dimensions, and it is powered through the most enhanced, advanced source of energy that is on the 13th dimension. Now, we are separate to a certain point because in order for the universe to expand, it has to go beyond its own mind. Because one mind cannot produce different things because it is encapsulated in its own walls. So it's similar to a company. If you have a company and every single person in that company thinks the exact same way, then there is no creative innovation. In order for something to expand, you have to have things on all of the different corners pushing outwards. And now if you imagine a circle of 4, imagine a circle with a plus in it. Let's break it down to the lowest possibility of math. Now, what you're going to be doing is each quadrant of the circle is breaking down into 4 like a pie, has a different intention of growth and a different level of curiosity. Now, what ends up happening is each quadrant will expand in a different direction because whatever is in that quadrant has its own individualistic intention, its own type of energy, and then it pushes outwards into a different direction. That is the important thing and the wonder that is our soul. Our soul is separate when regarding that it has its own galactic DNA. Your soul has different reincarnations on different planets. Your soul has a unique expression of the characteristics of your human lives that you have been reincarnated in. So that is why your soul is very unique, because it has its own agenda. And the reason why you may be reincarnating on Earth so much is because there is one thing that you are carrying through all of your reincarnations, almost like a string. And whatever you're carrying is something that you want to overcome. It is a large facet of the human experience. And as you overcome this, because you are connected to the collective consciousness, whenever you upgrade your archetype or a specific problem you have, you upload that unique information to the cloud. Imagine the collective consciousness is similar to, the cloud, when you back up data to a online database, everything works in symbiotic relationship. If you find one truth in one dimension or one part of your life, it is an exact truth to a different dimension or different part of your life. Okay, always realize that. So, as say you're dealing with healing anxiety and you find out how to heal it, well, you are then uploading your discovery, your invention, your breakthrough into the collective consciousness, that database. And then anybody experiencing the same archetype or anxiety in a similar fashion you have automatically pulls from that uploaded information that you have sent new information to. And all this works by the shared energy. So I have a situation with anxiety, for example, that I'm talking about. And if I overcome that, as I transmute that, somebody else that I don't even know, from a human level, a human ego level, I don't know, also is experiencing that anxiety in a similar fashion. Now, as we are living, we are both pulling in from the same place in the universe, because realize that your thoughts and emotions are not created from you. What you're doing is, as you're on Earth, Earth acts as a holistic and very unified simulation. So when you go through your day and you have an experience that is very common on this planet, you will have a stimulation of one of your five senses. It's called a stimuli. Now, when you have a stimuli, that is based on your own body's reincarnation, your unique interpretation of the world and who you are. But then you have an association of emotion, and the emotion creates a personal resonance with what is happening. That personal resonance is your lower ego, the identity of who you are in your body, and the set of beliefs and versions of yourself that you have created time after time. Now, while you're in your body, I want you to realize this. When you're in your body, you can go through many situations where you feel like you change drastically. And when you do that, I want you to first understand the process of taking galactic energy and putting it into a matrix of a slower dimension. Your soul has access to galactic energy. Now, in order for anything to be organized and placed in such a well fashion that it is, there has to be a process in how it gets done. The process of things is the divine masculine, right? So the process is, your soul is of cosmic energy, but as you come into Earth, that cosmic energy has to translate into 3D energy, your 5D energy, your fifth dimensional awareness of who you are and your position as a soul, which is your higher ego. That energy can only come into Earth with a 3D container. And now that 3D container can be your body, which is your cells, your subatomic particles. The only way for you to experience something on the outside is if your energetic code on the inside reflects that. The energetic code is held in your body by your cells, your DNA, and your subatomic particles. So in order for you to change the outside, you have to work on changing the resonance of what your particles, your DNA, and your cells are sending out into the universe. And ironically, how that happens is by using the external world to decide what you want to align with and what you don't want to align with. It's a mirror effect. It's a back and forth. So today I want to get into the idea of having you understand that when you initially go through a large change in life, that 5D energy, which is, of your soul, as it translates into your particles and your cells, in order for you to experience a different manifested reality, the energy inside of your body has to change. The code has to be altered. Now, when you change too quickly, your body doesn't have the time to let go of the energy and bring in new energy. And because energy creates matter, in most cases, your body gets to a point where when you need to embody a new energetic code, it splits you off into a parallel reality where your physical body already has that code. Because energy creates matter. And sometimes the intricate systems of how our DNA creates a program of cells that are reproduced is so intense that in order for us to move into a life that is very different from what we're used to, we have to almost download an entirely new program and have a new body. And that is the idea of parallel realities. It is the objective reasoning that you're aware that there is frames of consciousness going on around you. And when you change very quickly and you feel like you're off balance, it is because you are actually traveling time and space and you're moving your consciousness from one lower ego to another. Your lower ego is the identity you have in this lower dimension, the story of who you are, the belief systems that you hold about yourself and the world, and the energetic DNA that is in your body. Your higher ego is your soul's resonance. It is having a fluid understanding that you have a specific identity of universe. Your soul, as it goes further up, is pure consciousness. So you can expand your higher ego by allowing your thoughts while you're in this body to understand that even though your soul is unique because you've had specific reincarnations in this body, different egos, different identities in this body. Your soul is also unique because you've had different reincarnations as a human in other bodies. And a lot of people have resonances of being on different planets, being starseeds, being different gods, goddesses, angels, aliens. That is a set of Akashic Records, a collection of information that your soul holds. Remember, the Akashic Records is the database of the universe. Energy is information on all levels. And the Akashic Records is going beyond your lower ego, which is your body's identity, and going beyond your soul's higher ego, which is what your soul is currently living through. Now, although we are connected by everything and we are living as everything, that is on a higher dimension. As you go down the dimensions into the fifth, your soul has to only be able to hold on to what it can handle. And that is through you expanding in each reincarnation. As you're on earth, you are also expanding your soul's evolution, because the breaks of consciousness, the upgrades that you have endured in your reincarnations as a human, allows your soul to get an upgrade in its connection to Earth, and it expands. It realizes that now you can actually move beyond. So once you go beyond everything, beyond the identity of your body and your soul, you go into the universe purely. And when you're the universe, you just ask yourself any information. And all information is there because everything is connected. Okay? Now I want to go into the idea of how to fully understand the integration of your 5D self and your 3D self. Okay, your lower ego, which is your body and your identity that you've created unconsciously or consciously. Remember, many lower egos are different versions of who we are based on things that have happened to us, who our parents are, our religion, our community, what we were taught in school. Okay, now step 1 is be very observant of your lower ego and how it comes to creation. Your lower ego is the set of energetic programs that are running on autopilot based on who you think you are and how you think the world is. You are not confined to your name, you are not confined to your religion or who you are. You are expansive based on choice. Your lower ego is very important because it decides what you do on Earth. It decides what you manifest. It decides when you're in this reincarnation within the body, what are you going to experience and how are you shifting what timeline of Earth you're also plugged into. Just as you have different versions of who you are, Mother Earth and the divine feminine that she is has a combination of divine masculine codes that have been merged together to create a matrix. But even in that, there are different timelines of Earth. Because in order for us to experience anything here, we have to also be experiencing the same thing from the field that is allowing us to be here. So observe your 5 senses, be aware of your imagination of what exists in this 3D realm, how energy is put together, energy creating matter, matter breaking down into energy, using your imagination to actually see an energy field where you can see the holographic world around you. By knowing that everything is made of energy, so look at something and watch it break down into energy. No matter how you need to see energy in any present moment, go with it. There is no exact way to do anything. And watch those broken particles of energy come back together and make something else. Just use your imagination. Observe the 3D world. Be appreciative of it. Be warm to what it has to offer. Step 2 is observing your 5D self, observing your higher ego. Be aware of the power that your soul has. Be very knowing that your soul is eternal. Your soul does not feel pain. It does not die. Your soul is all knowing. At any point you can tap into the energetic funnel from the universe into your soul, and you can follow that funnel back up into the universe, and you can have access to all energy, all information, all alien races. You can feel the philosopher's stone in you arise when you let your mind go and you go beyond your body into your soul. That soul, that vehicle of infinite possibilities, is what you want to be aware of. Okay? Step 3. Start to observe situations as both your lower ego, which is your human self, your 3D self, and your higher ego, which is your soul self and your 5D self. When you're looking at a situation and why something happened, look at it from a 3D point of view. The emotions you're experiencing, what it's causing you to feel, how ridiculous or amazing it is. But then look at it from your 5D self, your higher ego, which is what part of my inner world projected this outer world experience. Every person, every situation, every single thing that you experience in your consciousness is a reflection of something going on inside of you. Because without that connection, you wouldn't even be able to experience it. There has to be a level of consent with energy. So in order for you to experience anything, you have to have that somewhere in your system, either in your body, your lower ego, your soul's resonance of what it is and the different reincarnations it's had and where you belong in the universe, the collective consciousness, or other things in the universe. Look at things from both sides all the time. That's what you can do. You can see things from the 3D point of view, and then you can also see things from the 5D point of view. Now, step 4 is alchemy, right? So, energy creates matter, and matter is broken down into energy, right? So when you experience something in your world, in your 3D external world, it is a manifestation of some belief or some characteristic that you're holding within you. So when you know that, you can start understanding that bad things don't happen to you because you're a victim. They happen to you because you're trying to heal and shift a mental pattern, which is an example of the lower ego and an identity that you have held in your body sometime in this life or in another life. They're just different timelines. They're different blueprints of energy that you have tapped into. And time is not real in the higher dimensions, so it doesn't matter if a certain version of who you are and mental thoughts and patterns have existed because of something that has happened to you in this life or in another human life or in another reincarnation as a different species. Everything is all connected. So you use your lower ego in the 3D world as an example of where you are currently at in your energy and how you are improving and what you may need to heal and forgive. Now in your higher self and your higher ego, your 5D self, you are God, you are Goddess as you follow your soul all the way up to its creation and you become the creator itself. There are many different creators of gods around us, and we have different connections to different deities and goddesses and gods and philosophies and different light languages. We all have different blueprints of what we are connected to and what comes into our field of resonance. So that's the power that you can create anything. And that is a power that you can go beyond the reincarnation when you experience too much pain to tap into that higher frequency energy. Also, I want you to fully understand the idea that we have to use both. We have to go back and forth very consistently, and we cannot be fully 3D or fully 5D, because whenever we do one too much, we don't pass off the energy that we are receiving from that position onto the other aspects of ourselves. So we have to become more integrated in realizing that you may have to tap into your 5D higher ego sometimes. Sometimes you may have to tap into your lower 3D ego. You know, your lower 3D ego is what do you want to create in this matrix. Your higher self and your higher ego is what are the resources of the universe that you have access to give you skills to use your mind better, okay? It's back and forth all the time. Now, I want to tell you guys that I do 5th dimensional quantum coaching for people, empaths, light workers, shadow workers, shamans that want to upgrade their energetic blueprint to match this new world we're coming into. Definitely send me an email, contact me